Police officers of the world, what call have you attended that could be categorized as, "I've got first world problems, better call the police"? At my school, the cops were called because some bum asked a sorority girl for money, and she flipped out and knocked over her frappuccino. Obviously, he didn't have the money to pay for it, and she called the cops. When they got there and figured out what they had been called for, the police officer went to the counter and bought a frappuccino. He then proceeded to give it to the homeless man and escorted him off campus. He seemed pretty irritated he had been called. Police received a call from an elderly lady who complained of a bright light shining outside her window. When called to check on the situation, police confirmed that the bright light was in fact the moon. I've only been a cop for a few months now, but I've already had quite a number of these. I think it has part to do with the size of the town I'm in, roughly 2,000 people, but here are some of the more memorable ones. Got called to a woman's house to verify that her power was actually out. A woman was blocking the road on a main street in town, because someone was in her favorite parking spot and she wouldn't move until she could park there. Received a call that a man's friend wouldn't return his books a night early. They were shortly returned. A woman called saying that she lost a ring and a pack of cigarettes. Upon arriving and after looking for about 10 minutes, she realized she was wearing the ring, and she had smoked the cigarettes. A man stormed into the police department, furious that his wife had opened a new savings account under her name without the bank getting his permission. Got a report of a possible domestic in progress. A party was banging on a man's door, and he was afraid to leave. Turned out to be his friend who he invited over. No, he did not check who it was. Man reported that his neighbor's yard wasn't as well kept as his, and it was driving his property value down. Called to a parking lot where a teenager was concerned that his two friends were going to get in a fist fight over who got to sit in the front seat. I pretty much just stood there glaring at them until they both got into the back seat when I got there. In my rookie year, I went to a lady's apartment for a possible burglary. When we got there, she told us the birds on her roof were annoying her, and we had to clear them off. My SGT went ballistic and told her if she ever misused the call to the police again, she would be arrested. Repeatedly get calls in a more affluent part of our county complaining about a neighbor mowing and the cut grass landing on the complainant's lawn. Same area. Complaint about a pizza delivery car parked on the curb. Apparently the car wasn't up to the standards of the neighborhood and they didn't want it visible. They were actually delivering a pizza. Was a security guard at a rich people's gated community place. Crazy lady on the homeowners association board required us to call the police if outside people ride their bicycles past the gate. Any boats pull up on the beach. Any outside people go swimming on the beach. Anyone in the community has a beach campfire. Anyone in the community uses fireworks, including on the 4th of July. Also, she made a rule that no motorcycles or cars with loud exhausts were allowed inside, even if they lived there. That was fun to enforce. That was not a fun job. I was a cop for about 5 years in a fairly well-to-do area of my town. One particularly memorable call I received was because a mom and dad decided that their son needed a spanking, but they wanted an officer to do it so their child wouldn't see them as bad parents. I calmly told them no and walked right back out of the door. Hello, 911? Hey, my wife has been a naughty girl and needs a good spanking. Can you send an officer down right away? I'll be right over. My friend, who was young, bought a house with a very strict homeowners association. He had the police called to his house because his grass was an inch too tall. Yes, someone actually came out to his house with a stick and measured his grass. This was after he received a notice earlier in the week about it being half an inch too tall. They wanted him cited for not following a local ordinance. The cop told them to piss off because my friend could prove he had a weekly contract with a lawn company. What it was, Homeowners Association had a company where they were receiving kickbacks from for every customer they had on board. They were pretty much trying to bully my friend into using the lawn service they wanted. One of the calls I went on was for a disturbance. Lady was upset because her husband said her food tasted like shit, and she wanted him to apologize. The good was burned to all hell. I told her I was leaving and that she should go take cooking classes. Or taste her food. She refused and said I was an a-hole. I said yup, sure am, but if you don't want to eat it, why should he? I was a former dispatcher for a university police department, and we often had to hear these and weed out the ridiculous ones. My personal favorite. University 911, where's your emergency? I'm in the parking lot. My car's frozen over and I broke my scraper. Send police to help. Sir, this is an emergency line. Are you hurt or in any danger? No, but if I don't get my car out, the store's going to run out of iPhones. I need to get into line now. Someone had called in a suspicious truck and trailer cruising around the neighborhood. I get there, it's Hispanic landscapers with their equipment. The lady called up because she thought it was suspicious they were there on a Wednesday, when she gets her lawn done on Thursdays. The thought didn't cross her mind that other people use the same or similar company on different days. But how can other people use their services on different days of the week? Are you telling me other people actually have real lives too? I always thought they were just extras, since I'm the center of the world. Some lame reasons reported by a UK police force were: can't remember my mobile phone number, the remote control isn't working and my favorite program is starting, and about an hour ago I picked my nose, dipped it in a jar of jam and then ate the jam. Now I don't feel well. There was another one where a woman called the police and said her kitten had been playing with a ball of string for an hour and it was doing her head in. Police brutality is just pent-up frustration from having to deal with idiots. My uncle got called because this lady shared her crack with her boyfriend last week and he wouldn't share his crack with her this week. My local police department recently posted on Facebook about an elderly woman that called in because a couple across the street wouldn't wave at her, and she wanted an officer to come make them do so. Do we really want to live longer lives if this is how we are going to end up behaving? My cousin called the police on her sister for making her do the dishes when she was 7. Me and my sister once had the cops called on us by the son of friends visiting my parents. We were jumping on the bed after we were told not to. Laughs are had to this day. Really nice neighborhood. I respond out their cause or road obstruction. When I arrive I see 3 different cars with the bottoms covered in concrete, and some rightfully pissed off people. They are thinking that some concrete truck lost its load in the roadway. But when I look at it, it looks like it's a strike running across the road. I turn to look at one of the houses right in the area, and I see a wheelbarrow and shovels and shit beside the house. Walk up and yep, they are covered in concrete. I knock on the door, and this way too happy old bitch answers. She tell me how she paid $290,000 for this house. And it's her right to slow down all the speeders by making her husband build a speed bump. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.